really good. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. I'm going to press record. Thank you, ladies, for coming on to our final call of 2020. Like, can you believe it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of us are like, all right, let's move on, keep moving. Let's go 2020. But just looking forward, really excited about what's coming in 2021. And I thought, when I was trying to think about what I wanted the last call to be on, I really wanted to just kind of set up some, set up some tips that I could give you on how to make this next year your best year. And, and some of this you guys may have already heard of, but again, repetition is key. And what I have learned when it comes to just, becoming someone different and really elevating my own personal life and becoming that next level version of myself, repetition is key. We tend to know a lot. A lot of us are good at knowing, but it's the doing, it's the being that a lot of us, we struggle at sometimes. And we sometimes get caught off guard, or we get off balance. We get off track, etc. So I just wanted to thank you, ladies, so much for just taking time out of your day to spend this evening with me. It probably won't go for the whole hour. We'll see. But yeah. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and oh no, I'm gonna do this. Present. Okay. Alrighty now. So stepping into your most abundant year yet. So when I was actually thinking about the topic, and like I said, just the idea of abundance, the one thing that I've learned in my own personal journey as someone who spent a lot of her life like looking outside of herself for validation, looking outside of myself for the accolades, for just approval, just realizing that at the end of the day, and you may have heard me say this many, many times, but at the end of the day, our external reality is truly a reflection of what's inside of us. And when it comes to something like abundance is truly something that needs to come from within. And so, a lot of times it's asking yourself, do you feel abundant within yourself right now? And some of the easiest, this is not in this specific call, but one of the easiest ways to step into abundance is through gratitude. It's through, just being grateful for what you have today, being grateful for waking up today, being grateful for any opportunities for your animals, for your family, for your loved ones, for, your health, for your work, for your home over your head, your clean water, which a lot of people don't have, the abundance of food, which a lot of people don't have. So again, these are all the different ways that you can start feeling abundant now, and realize that the more that you fill yourself up with abundance, it really is, the more that you are abundant from within, it'll start to show up more in the ways that you would like to see more of in your external reality. But it first starts with, filling yourself up first. So that's what I want to say in regards to that. So when it comes to leaning towards and building your abundant year, I'm going to take you through this blueprint. And the blueprint is going to be self-belief, which I think is something that we all can continue to work on, explore and discover, dream and visualize, take action and create, and then lastly, inspire, right? Because if, the whole point of sharing ourselves, sharing our lives and becoming a better individual, becoming a better woman, becoming a better person is so that we can inspire those, who are around us, inspire our family, inspire our community, to live better, to be better, to live healthier, to live happier, to live more joyfully, to live with more gratitude. So I wanted to start first with self-belief, because I think ultimately I was chatting with Luke, who's right here. I was talking with Luke, and, I said, one thing that I think when it comes to having success, and when it comes to either creating a business or going after your goals or whatever that may look like to you, whatever success may look like to you, at the foundation of it is belief, right? At the foundation is self-belief, is do you believe that it is possible? Because if you do not believe that it is possible for you to lose the weight or get your dream job or have your dream home or have your dream career or have the amount of money you want to have or have the dream life you want to have. If there is a doubt in your mind, that is where we need to focus on in 2021 in terms of eliminating those self-beliefs and really, getting to the root of those self-beliefs. Because self-belief at the end of the day is necessary for success and for you to achieve your dreams. The moment you doubt yourself, you're putting that energy out there and you're not going to open up the floodgates of of the success that you're looking for. And at the end, and this is something that I used to think to myself, it's like, if I don't believe in myself, then why should someone else believe in me? And I've learned this, guys. I've been, I've had the opportunity of being with Beachbody now for a little over 7 years, which Beachbody has a product, right? They have a product. We don't have to create the product. We literally just have to use the products, fall in love with it ourselves, have believe in them, create our own belief system about them, and then share them. And so if I didn't believe in the products, if I didn't have my own transformation, it would be very difficult for me to share that. So if Beachbody is, which I would assume if many of you are on this call, you do, there's a desire within you to have this, to grow this into an additional stream of income. So just know that at the core, when it comes to building this business, is a belief in the product and then a belief in yourself. And then if you're someone that you in the future want to create your own products, because we have that in our community, we have people who want to do more, who want to go, they're really looking at Beachbody like a stepping stone and want to really go beyond that and still incorporate it, but they want to do a little bit more. Just know as well, when you start working on your own products, if you're a teacher, if you're doing lessons, if you're doing, a lot of it's going to stem, your self belief in what you can offer is going to directly influence, what you think you can charge and the energy that you're going to put out there. So just be mindful of that. So self-belief is going to be a key foundation of this blueprint in terms of building this abundant life in this abundant year in 2021. So self-limiting beliefs. So basically, our self-limiting beliefs are belief systems that we hold inside our mind tightly. So a belief really is just a stream of words, a state, a certain belief that we believe to be true. And at the end of the day, notice I say that we believe to be true. It doesn't mean that it's actually true. But for whatever reason, we've convinced ourselves that this is true. And usually when it comes to self-limiting beliefs, these beliefs are usually limiting, negative, and hindering our growth. So that's how you'll know, like, okay, is this a limiting belief or is this not a limiting belief? And so just really, really thinking about how are you talking to yourself? What are you saying about what's possible for yourself? What are you affirming onto yourself? Really being mindful of the words and the belief systems that you have, because that's going to be really important. So what I wanted to do is take you through some self-limiting beliefs, and you guys can, put in the comment, if any of these resonate with you. I'm not going to pick on you or anything, but I'm just curious, so some of the self-limiting beliefs, one of the top ones is, I don't have time. I don't have time to build a business. I don't have time to build an additional stream of income. I don't have time for my workouts. I don't have time, Stephanie. I'm just so busy. And again, this is a belief system. At the end of the day, it's about prioritizing your time. Those of us, we know that people, when something is important to them, they make time for it. And so really, is it a fact of just that maybe you need to build on your skill set of organization a little bit? Maybe there is just an honest conversation you have to have with yourself of like, okay, have I really been even dedicating the time? Have I even tried? Have I, am I willing to sacrifice certain time, during the week, maybe an hour during the week and then 2 hours on the weekend? But again, this idea of not having enough time really is an excuse, is a self-limiting belief, and so you just have to be mindful. And when it comes to this journey, anything that I'm talking about here on this call, it's going to require 100% honesty from yourself, just a reflection. This is a time to reflect. This is a time to, look at the past year and say, okay, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do with my time? What did I do with the extra time? Because how many of you had extra time this year, in terms of being home, having more time, and yet there's still things on your goal board that you didn't achieve, right? And that is just being honest. And that was something, guys, I'll share when COVID happened and I was faced with all of this time in front of me now, because I was like, hello, couldn't travel, wasn't working as much, no activities, everybody was home. And I realized I still wasn't working on the projects that I always said I was going to work on if I had more time and if I had the resource, if I just actually, I used to say if I had more time. And it really made me look at myself and say, no, Stephanie, this was never about having more time. This was really about your own limiting beliefs of not believing in yourself and and fear of failure. And it really, it really forced me to go on a journey of reflection this year of, what's really been holding me back. And so I invite you, if you haven't already gone on that reflection, go on that reflection right now before the new year of, what did you do with the extra time this year? And did you use it in a way that was productive towards the goals that you're trying to achieve in your life? So self-limiting belief, number one, I don't have time. Number two is just the generalized, I can't do this, I can't set up a website, or I can't, whatever. You can follow, fill in the blank. I can't. So again, just being mindful of what are you putting out into the universe? What are you putting out within yourself? What are you saying repeatedly? And that's another thing when it comes to things like affirmations, when it comes to reprogramming your mindset. Realize that there are a lot of things that you have been saying for many, many, many years. I can't do this. I don't, I'm not smart enough. I'm not enough. I'm not, I'm not good enough, pretty enough. I'm not, whatever. All of these things that we have been saying about ourselves. Like I used to say, for example, I'm not creative. And I used to say, I'm not smart enough. And those were my two and I'm not enough. Those are like my top three limiting beliefs that I used to say for a long time. And again, when we start saying that at an unconscious level, when it comes to start reprogramming that, it's going to take effort. It's going to take intention of repeating what it is that we truly want. So be mindful if you're someone that you're saying, I can't. Why can't you? Right? It's like one of those things, whether you can or can't, at the end of the day, you're right. And so you just have to be mindful of, what are you choosing? Are you choosing not to try something? Are you choosing to let your fear of failure get the best of you? Are you choosing to let your fear of rejection get the best of you, right? Are you choosing fears that are not real? Fear is false evidence appearing real. And so it really is truly that is made up in our mind, and you just have to be mindful of that. So number three is I can't because I am not. So that's very similar to the second one, but this is again, the difference is that the I can't because I am not is tying in an identity. So you have to be very mindful of those types of phrases too. I can't because I'm not smart enough, or I can't because I am not ready to be different. I'm not ready to face rejection. I'm not ready to face failure. I'm just not ready for that. And, and just know that, and again, this is not about judgment. None of this is about judgment. This is all about just being honest with ourselves. Where are we? Because the first step to changing our lives is acknowledging where we are now. That's the first step to becoming someone different, is acknowledging who am I now? And I'm going to talk about that on the next couple of slides, but it's who, and Luke has been someone who's been going, we've all been going through that. It's like, who am I now? Taking an inventory of our own mindset, taking an inventory of how we're thinking. So number four is I'm not good enough, right? That is a very, very, very common limiting belief. And if that is one of yours, I definitely encourage you to work on that in 2021. Really, saying I am worthy, I am enough. I wrote I am enough. I would say I am enough in the mirror for a long time before it finally clicked. So it does take time, but again, it's about intention, and it's about recognizing, what? The reason why I'm not going after my dreams is because this is what I for some reason, I think I'm not worthy enough. I think I'm not good enough. I think I'm comparing, like the number 6 that I have here. I am not as good as them, right? One thing I want you guys to realize, in all of my self-discovery journey, what's been more blatant than anything else is that no one is better than me, and I'm not better than, I'm not better than anyone else. And so really, this idea of comparison is something that really separates us more than, than helps us. Truly, it doesn't help us in any way. And so just really being mindful of just being mindful of whether you tend to slip into comparison, and just know, because again, that stems from, okay, well, I'm not as good as them. There's not enough room for me. Someone else is already doing this, so I don't have to do this. And that's something I've thought of in the past as well. It's like, well, someone's already teaching this, and someone's already, there's a book on this, and there's a class on this. How am I supposed to, teach this, but realize at the end of the day, there's always room for you. And what I always say is that, like, even some of these people who have like these beautiful books, who write these beautiful teachers, these personal development teachers, know that they learned from someone else. And so it's not that they all of a sudden had all of this like knowledge that just kind of, came into their mind. No, they learned it from someone else. They became it. They literally used that information to transform their own life. And then they said, okay, let me show you what I did. And by using their experience, you're able to make it your own. Another reason why people will limit themselves and have a self-limiting beliefs is, I will be judged. That is one that it can be a challenge for people. And it's the fear of rejection. It is, which actually, guys, fear of rejection is it's a very primal fear for us. It's a very tribal fear, that comes, from, that's deep within our psyche of just basic survival. So this is one that definitely needs to be, you have to be mindful of and work towards. And what I always tell people too is that if this is a big one for you, judgment, I can almost guarantee that really what that is just, it's a reflection of your own personal judgment towards yourself. So if you're really deeply afraid of being judged, it's because you judge yourself very, very harshly, and you're constantly, judging yourself. And I would, bet money that you judge other people a lot too. So again, it's a reflection. And so again, no judgment, just being mindful is all about like being aware of what are the things I need to work on, in 2021. And I encourage you to choose some of these limiting beliefs, whichever ones you have, choose the top 2, 3. And, because many of us, we have many of them from, many years of conditioning, many years of programming, realizing that a lot of our self-limiting beliefs started when we were children, a lot of them. And it has nothing to do with our upbringing. It's just our natural, misunderstanding of something that happened. And it could be a tiny little small event that you just didn't even realize would impact you. And it's like totally impacting you in your life. And you just never know what that event, could have been. But just know that what you're doing is, a lot of this is just conditioning. It's just conditioning from your family, from society, from your school, from religion. A lot of things is conditioned. So you just have to be, look at it all. Like, I feel like this year of what we're being asked to do is like what we're being asked and what we're being invited to do is to literally take out everything in our closets. Literally take out everything in our inner closets and like be like, okay, we're gonna Marie Kondo, what is that woman, Marie Kondo or whatever, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but we're gonna Marie Kondo like our life and our limiting beliefs and society and government and everything, and we're like, okay, let's look at all this shit, and we're just like, ooh, this is not nice, this is not good, this is not pretty, this is not nice, and we're just like, okay, what do we want to take? And what do we want to be like, all right, this was good back, 50, 70, 100 years ago, but it's not working for us anymore. So I think, and we have to do that for ourselves, right? We have to do that for ourselves as well. It's like, what are our belief patterns that have been ruling our life up until now? These are 3 other ones. I have failed. So this is a big one. Self-limiting belief is failure, fear of failure. And I have failed. I wrote a little bit more about this because there's no such thing as failure, only feedback, right? That's something that Tony Robbins says, that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. And the feedback that you receive is truly there to help you change things next time. So if you adopt that as your way of looking at failure, then you realize that all there is, in every experience is the opportunity to learn and grow. And if you can say, you know what, because, right, if you feel failure and you want to have success, I hope you can see there's a paradox there. It's like, you can't be super successful. And because in order to have success, you need to make mistakes. You need to fail. You need to, you're not always going to be right. And it's okay. I had that I had a recent epiphany about that this year, which Luke was very happy about, where I was just like, I'm not always right. And he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I don't have to tell you that. And I'm like, I am not always right. And it was actually, I will share, it was actually very freeing to realize that it's okay to not always be right. right? Because if you always have this idea and you set this standard for yourself of always being right without you even realizing this, you're like pushing for this perfection, you're pushing for this like high bar. And it's like sometimes that's hard to live life that way. It's like you're not always going to be right. And then, you kind of have this like, unfair expectation of yourself, without much grace. So that was just like a really interesting thing that came to me this year in my many things that came to me this year. But that was one of them. Another self-limiting belief is I am stupid, right? That was one for me that I've worked through a lot, and it's only been more this year that I was like, I'm going to start saying I am intelligent, and and just really start rephrasing again, reprogramming, and that just comes from again, it just comes from programming, old failures, just a desire for perfection, a desire to want to be the best, and realizing that I'm not the best, which no one is the best, and again, these are all just things that through our schooling, through our lives, that we have picked these certain habits and thoughts that we have picked up along the way. And it's really about saying, okay, what served us and know what no longer serves us now. So, and then I can never do this. So that is another self-limiting belief, right? I can never do this. The question is, who says you can never do this? That is one thing to, really think about. Are you choosing not to live a certain way because of your parents, because of society, or is it like, I can never do this because this goes against my values, which is very different than just saying I can never do this because other people are not going to like me, other people are going to judge me, other people, I'm afraid, be mindful of that, and even now, like when I think about certain things that I want to do in 2021, there are certain things where I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And there are certain things that I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And then there's also, I'm like, oh, I'm afraid I can't do this. I can never do that. And I'm like, oh, am I choosing not to go out of fear, because that's not how I want to live my life. So it allows me to just have a little bit more reflection and discernment around, what I'm doing in my life. And so I encourage you to have that level of discernment of just always being mindful of who's guiding your actions. And is it truly you? Or are you letting other people's opinions, other people's fears, other people's programming limit you? And that's something, to think about. So self-limiting beliefs. So again, being mindful when it comes to self-limiting beliefs, being mindful of how you are speaking to yourself, and just really, just at the end of the day, our thoughts are super powerful, guys. If you haven't realized that, right? Like our thoughts are really, really powerful. So, how are you starting your day? Are you starting your day with kindness towards yourself? Are you, catching yourself and being mindful of when you may start, going into an old thought pattern that maybe is a limiting belief, and you're just like, I see this, I see you, I see you, there you are. So just being mindful. That was actually someone who said that. Someone said that recently, that when I was at a recent mentor of mine, and he said, when you start noticing that limiting belief and it pops up again, just say, there you are. Like, because the fact that you even are aware of it will start to create a distance, will start to create a gap between that thought and like who you are. So the fact that you're even aware, you'll be like, ooh, there you are. And if you just say, there you are, and again, you may succumb to it in that moment, but with practice of just being aware, you may see that you may be like, no. I know where this is going. I've gone down this path before. I know that doesn't serve me. I'm trying to be different, live different, and I'm more aware now. So try that and see if that helps you. Another thing with self-limiting beliefs is that sometimes with self-limiting beliefs is it stops you from even trying, right? It's like you just never know. You never know what could have happened because of these beliefs. So that you have to, be mindful of that too. So when it comes to self-limiting beliefs, the first step is acknowledging. So that's why I gave you a list, of the most common ones, common things being common. It's like acknowledging your self-limiting beliefs is number one. And then number two, and this is the journey of self-exploration that I invite you to in 2021, is finding the core reasons as to why you have those beliefs. Where did they come from? Where did they stem from? And just really journaling that. That's things you could do in journal, with meditation. There, in hypnosis, there's many different ways you can like go about that. But the key, again, like I said, it's all about intention. It's all about being intentional about, okay, this is my focus for this year, is to really get to some of these core reasons to these belief systems. And then once you do that, it's understanding that those beliefs are not true. You know, they really aren't. It's not true. A lot of them are fear-based. A lot of them are, you know, just a story that you've been telling yourself over and over and over again. I was listening to a Tony Robbins. I was at one of his events, and I think he said that when it comes to like stories from our past, when it comes to like memories, out of our memories, only like 40% of our memories are actually factual. So I was like, wow, like only 40% of our memories from like, especially like the further they are away, like childhood and stuff, only like 40% are actually like factual and actually happened. The other 60% is just like our mind, you know, creating things, and then like they create a story. And then to the point where you don't even know what was true, and you like literally believe it because you've been saying it all your life, you know, especially things from like childhood. So I thought that was really fascinating. You know, I've been reading a lot more about the brain and memory, and I'm like, wow, this is really fascinating. So just be mindful of that. Again, you know, understanding that maybe some of this, there's a part of it that's not true, and, you know, just being open to that. And then arming yourself with new empowering beliefs, right? Like once you kind of go through this and you're like, okay, I recognize this, I want to work on this. Now it's like, okay, what are the new belief systems that I want to take into 2021 and beyond? Because that is, you know, that's what we're doing here. You know, if you want to create an abundant life, you know, an abundant life, if you don't, if you feel like you don't have an abundant life now, then we need to change certain belief systems. We need to change certain habits. We need to change you. You know, I hate to say it, we need to change who you are. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment as well. So number 2, explore and discover. So kind of leading into that, you know, so using this next year to really learn more about your ways. Why are you the way that you are? And, you know, and being open to change. You know, self-exploration and self-awareness is number 1. That is the foundation. You know, I know that's been Luke's, you know, that's been Luke's goal this year, and his goal going into 2021 is this idea of just self-exploration. It's who are you? And who are you before anyone else told you who you were not supposed to be or who you were supposed to be, right? You know, really thinking about who, like if you were to remove all the labels and the mask and everything of what of what society and your parents and religion and everything that told you how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to be, you remove all this, you know, who are you? And you know, who are you? And just really asking yourself that. I think a lot of people will be like, well, I don't even know who I would be without this, or I don't even know who I would be if I would, you know, if I didn't have this about me, if I didn't know this about me. And that is, you know, again, it's all about just uncovering yourself. That is what this process is about. So about uncovering yourself and really getting more to your core. And your core, unfortunately, and fortunately, is about what life is about. Are, you know, your core is underneath a lot of masks and underneath a lot of limitations and underneath a lot of stories and underneath a lot of beliefs that were placed on us. A lot of it with good intention. You know, our families wanting to protect us, our families wanting to do what was best for us and keep us safe. And again, a lot of it was out of good intention. But now it's about really, you know, figuring out, okay, what is this that I, you know, what in this do I want to keep? What, you know, what information, what system, what belief systems, and what is it that I need to toss away, move, you know, take away and create and make space for who it is that I am creating now. Because right now you are the co-creator. You know, you are creating this next version of yourself. You are creating this next step in your life. So when it comes to explore and discover, working on your own belief system, like we have already talked about, getting out of your comfort zone, you know, that is going to be really important. You know, one thing that Tony Robbins says that I really love that he says is that your quality of life is in direct proportion to your tolerance for uncertainty. Like, how tolerant are you for uncertainty? You know, and just, you know, your quality of life is in direct proportion to that. You know, so again, it's all about, a lot of times we want so much, you know, we want to be so certain of things, but also know there's a catch-22 to that. And then, you know, being willing and open to embrace change. I feel like a lot of us who do personal development, we start seeing that change is the only thing that's really constant. It's the only, you know, I think those of us who have worked on ourselves, we're like, really the only thing that I know for sure is something's going to change. Like it's I can't even guarantee what's going to happen. And that's just something, you know, to really be mindful of. And I really believe that if you make growth your goal, progress your goal, you'll be a lot more content in your life. as long as that is your focus and that is where your intention is. And so when it comes to creating an abundant year, it is about, it's about having more growth in your life, growth and but specifically, growth within yourself and who you are trying to become in this next version of yourself. So creating a different life requires, and so there's a book, it requires creating a different personality. There is a book that I highly recommend. I think it's a fantastic book. Where is it? It's over here, I think. It is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is a fantastic, fantastic book. And it's all about, he says that the greatest obstacle that we have is breaking the habit of being ourselves. And, one thing that he says that is that if you want to create a different personal reality, you literally have to create a different personality. And when I realized that, I'm like, wow. And he even talks about routines. He talks about how even a routine is you, in a way, living in the past. It's you living in a past construct, past decisions, right? Like if you have a routine, it's what you've known. You created this structure of something from the past. And so in a way, there's a part of you that's living from the past situations. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. But it's all about creating a different life. And it's all about the fact that if you want to create something different in your life, then you must become someone different. And this is something I've talked to a lot with Luke. Luke and I have been talking a lot about this. It's like, okay, what are we going to do different? Because if we keep doing the same things over and over and over again, if we keep, having the same morning routine, if we don't change something, we're going to keep getting the same results. And so, so just challenging yourself to, what am I going to do different? What is a different habit that I'm going to cultivate in 2021? Or what is a different routine? Or maybe, I'm going to create some more spontaneity in my life. I'm going to create some more variety in my life. I'm going to, do different things with my family or do different things for myself. But again, giving yourself a different, different options and creating different choices for yourself. So one of the main reasons why, that's why I'm going to, hopefully all works out. I'll be in Hawaii later this weekend, at the end of this weekend, just creating something different, doing something different with my life, something that I've been wanting to do and creating a different habit for myself. But yeah, I really recommend getting this book. The first half is all about the science behind why he's talking about this, which is really good. And then the second half is all about the application, utilizing visualization, utilizing meditation to really help you become and be this next version of you. And so one thing, like, for example, one thing he talks about in here, especially when it comes to manifesting, and is being grateful for what it is you're trying to manifest as if it already happened, and literally visualizing, like, let's say, for example, you wanted to, take your family to Disneyland Paris, let's say, for example, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to visualize literally buying the tickets, getting on the plane, being so excited, wearing my ears, getting to Paris, going through customs, getting my croissant and my crepe and being at Disneyland Paris, and you're just visualizing, like, so excited, like you have your outfits picked out, but literally putting yourself in that energy of what it is that you're creating. That is what true manifestation, and you do that over and over and over and over again, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to happen. And that is how, and by doing that, and I'm doing that even with personal relationships. Like, for example, let's say there's someone in your life that every single time you're like, you guys get around each other, you're like, oh, I don't know, this is a little stressful right here. This is like, there's a lot of tension. And I'm using this in my life now in visualization, utilizing Ho'oponopono. How many of you guys know Ho'oponopono? The idea, Ho'oponopono is a really beautiful, it comes from Hawaii. It's a beautiful prayer that is used for transformation. And so basically it's, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So you say it over and over again. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the idea behind Ho'oponopono is that every single one of you, all of us, that we attract people that we have certain connections with. And it's because we're meant to help clear some of the energy, some of the denseness. We're meant to help clear. So that's why we attract people in our lives and we have these relationships with people. But utilizing Ho'oponopono is a really beautiful, because it allows you to take personal responsibility, right? Like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And it's like that idea. So I use Ho'oponopono a lot. It's been really helpful for me. And what I was sharing is that I'll sit in visualization and I will think of that person that I have sometimes tension with, and I will sit there and I will imagine me hugging them and like feeling good and doesn't feel weird. And so like I'm visualizing how I want it to be different. And that is how you utilize things like this, even in your own personal relationships, of just like, okay, I'm going to visualize, having a good conversation. I'm going to visualize that I don't feel offended or I don't feel weird. So again, these are all different ways and that you can utilize. But the Ho'oponopono is a really good tool and a really beautiful prayer that really can heal a lot of people. And you'd be surprised. Like, you just start thinking about that person and you just say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you just repeat it. You can repeat it for like a minute, 5 minutes. It's a really beautiful little prayer. So yeah, so creating a different life requires you becoming different. So I encourage you guys to really push yourself of how am I gonna be different? How am I gonna live different in 2021? So fill in the blank. Life begins one step out of your comfort zone. I thought this was a cute little slide. So I was like, I'm gonna use this slide. Life begins one step out of your comfort zone. This has been my mantra, guys, since I started my personal development journey. And so again, the more that you push yourself to be uncomfortable and you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you'll see that not a lot will be able to shake you. It's a lot of times when we're surprised, it's because we're just not open to change. We're not like, oh, this couldn't have happened. We're not open to the possibility. We're not open to the possibility of change. And I encourage you not to be, I encourage you to be different if that is you. A lot of times, I don't think that's many of you on here, but just know that. So dream and visualize. So having the courage, I wrote this here, having the courage to be different, right? Like, it takes courage to be different than your family, right? Like, that is the biggest one for a lot of us, especially I don't know, how many of you feel like black sheep in your family sometimes? I'm curious if any of you ever feel, like you feel just a little weird, you just feel like black sheep in your family. Yeah. So some of us feel like black sheep, some of us don't. But again, it's just when it comes to dreaming and visualizing and dreaming something different, sometimes again, different, it's going to require a certain level of courage to be different. And just know that, you're just trying to better your life, and know that sometimes when you try to change, by you changing, it can trigger a response in other people. And it can trigger, just their desire. Like, the fact that you don't want to be like them is a trigger. It's like a rejection point for them. So, it's all about self-awareness. Like, the more self-aware you are of yourself, you'll become more self-aware of others, and it'll help you in your relationships, because now you have a more understanding, which actually means there's actually more responsibility on your end to be better, to be a better individual, to have more compassion for other people, to be that example of just love and unconditional love and compassion for other people. The more you get to know yourself, you're going to get to know others a lot better, and you're going to be able to have a little bit more awareness. So know that when it comes to dreaming and visualizing, there are no limitations to what is possible in your lives, guys. Really, there truly isn't. The only limitation is you. The only limitation is what you think you can and cannot do. Anything I've seen, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And it's really just you getting behind yourself and believing in yourself and saying, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make this happen. I'm not going to give up on myself. I'm going to live a better life. I'm going to live a bigger life. I'm going to, do these things for myself and for others. And so, and if you can think it, then you can create it, and that's when it comes to our dreams, knowing that if we have a dream, it's because we're meant to pursue that dream, and we're meant to, keep steadfast on that dream, and know that as long as we stay true to ourselves, some people may come along and some people may not. But, it's just realizing that, if you dream it, you can create it. And so at this time of the year, this is when we do vision boards. And so I encourage all of you should be doing vision boards, but if you haven't, make sure that you're doing, there we go. Look at Leanne, she has her vision board. I love it. Yeah, just make sure that you have your vision boards, do your vision boards, set, write down your goals, put your goals. Like I wrote in 2020, I'm gonna do the same thing for 2021. In 2020, I had written just like on a piece of paper, I wrote down all my goals in a really affirmative, like I am so grateful for, I am so grateful for. And I just kind of wrote them out and I put it on my refrigerator because it was like a nice, like little, just a normal white piece of paper. And I had that there the whole year. And did I hit all of them? No. But a lot of those are going to be transferred now to 2021. And some of them I hit, some of them, but it was a constant reminder and, of just what I'm working towards, in this year. So making sure that you are writing down goals, being specific with your goals, and then taking time every morning to, visualize it, but taking time every morning to affirm what it is that you want to affirm and be grateful for what is coming, looking to the future with excited anticipation. You may not know how it's going to happen, but you're just like, I know this is going to happen. I feel it. I feel it. I feel that it's going to happen. And that feeling, do not doubt that feeling within you. It's really, really powerful. And so guarding your mindset, right? This is important. We need to guard our mindset when it comes to dreaming and visualization and what we're doing with our life. Literally our mind is like a little garden. And, you have to be mindful of what you are allowing to be planted in that garden and what you are saying and what you are repeating to yourself. So be very, very, very mindful of what you're saying to yourself, how you're talking to yourself, what you are affirming every single day, and affirm every morning what you wish to create. Again, we are all creators. We are all creators. If you could speak to yourself as a little girl or boy, I think we're all girls on here. So if you could speak to yourself as a little girl and you gave her a sheet of paper when she was, and I'm sure she would have drawn something beautiful. She would have created something with, the crayons and the markers and everything. And she would have just so much imagination, that we have, because that part of us is still within us, alive. And she's asking for us to connect with her and to really allow her to help, to allow her to be more active in our lives, through that creation and through that inner magic that's within, with our inner child. One thing that I heard recently that I thought was really profound, and I was like, wow, this is really deep, is I heard you birth what you see. And I don't know if you guys, you birth what you see. And this is good and bad, or negative and positive. So like, for example, someone was telling me, I had a friend of mine who was recently telling me that one of her sisters is overweight. And she was like, it really bothers me that she's overweight. I want to help her. I want to she's like, it triggers me. She's like not taking care of her body. How do I help her? How do I help her get on track, get on track with herself? How do I help her exercise? All that stuff. And I was like, well, knowing what I know and what I believe, I said, what I believe is that a lot of times when people are overweight, a lot of times there is a lack of self-love for themselves. They need to really strengthen that self-love. So I said, why don't you, or one thing to consider is, pointing out how beautiful she is, help her see what she may not see. And, so you birth what you see. So by you speaking these words of, oh my goodness, you look so beautiful today. Your hair looks so beautiful today. Oh, I like your outfit today. You're seeing this in someone, and you have the potential to birth, her ability to see that within herself, that self-love. And it's the same thing. So be mindful of what you are seeing, because you're asking for more of that. So are you seeing, the nitpicking? Are you nitpicking on your spouse? And are you judging? Are we, what is it that you're choosing to see? Or are you choosing to see, the hard work, they're hardworking, they're trying, their effort, their love, their, I say that their compassion, whatever. But I thought that was really profound when I heard that. It was such a simple phrase. And I was like, wow, that's really, because it's the same thing. It's the opposite too. If all you're seeing is negativity, guess what? That's what you're birthing. If all you're seeing is all the negative in someone else, you're just asking for that to be birthed. More negativity. If that's what you're seeing in the world, you're asking for more negativity. So I thought that was just really, really good. So you birth what you see. So what are you birthing? What are you choosing? What are you choosing to see in the world? What are you choosing to see first within yourself? And then what are you choosing to see within others? And what are you choosing to see within the world? And right now we're in a really interesting time. We're in an interesting time right now where, we have to just be, we have to be that light, and we have to be that, that example of seeing love and compassion and mercy. We have to, those of us that are on this path where we're needed more than ever, to really be seeing more positivity and more good than bad, and not harboring on the bad. So take action and create. So obviously, taking action and being consistent is going to be super important. So 4 vital behaviors, you guys all know this when it comes to specifically Beachbody. It is falling in love with your journey through the 4 vital behaviors. I was talking to Ariel earlier today, and I said, it's if you follow the 4 vital behaviors, it really can change your life. It doesn't even have to do anything about the business. You don't even have to sell anything. Like, it just can, that consistency of working on your mindset, working on your body, being consistent on social media, being an inspiration to other people, that will change your life. It has the potential to not only help you get healthy and get in shape, but also help you have a purpose, help you fulfill a purpose in your life and feel purposeful in what you're doing. So be willing to push yourself out of your comfort zone every single day. And the goal is at the end of the year to not recognize yourself. That is always the goal. If you are, and that's why I'm saying this is a beautiful time for self-reflection. If you look back on this past year and you're like, man, I didn't change that much, then it's okay. Just say, okay, I gotta, I have to push myself this next year and really push myself more outside of my comfort zone, and really push myself to do something different, and really push myself, because again, it's about constant growth and expansion. That is what it's about. And, when it comes to an abundant life, that it's about growth. It's about, abundance, growth. Abundance is growing. It's constant. So growth. So goal at the end of the year is to not recognize yourself. So consistency. Basically leads to habits. Habits form the actions that we take every day, and actions lead to our success. So as Anthony Robbins would say, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but it's what we do consistently, right? And so this is where consistency matters so much. And, and even guys, even if you do one small thing in that day, it still matters. It does, don't put that expectation on yourself or that drive for perfection, because you will fall off track. You will fall off track. But if you say, okay, I'm going to do one small thing for myself, for my business today, for being present on social media. And again, sometimes you may get off track, but again, if you just always are saying one small thing every single day, that will help you stay more consistent towards your actions. And so again, consistency is the key to success. It's about showing up no matter what, showing up even when you don't want to, just taking once. It doesn't mean you have to be on your phone all the time, or you have to take away so much time from your family, but it's showing up. Understanding that when it comes to your success, you alone are responsible for your success. You alone are responsible for what you do, what you choose to do, how you choose to eat, how you choose to show up, what you choose to not do. It's all you, no one else. So, just taking that ownership on yourself and just realizing, okay, I need to create better habits. I need to make this a priority. And again, one step at a time. A lot of us have big dreams and we get overwhelmed by the big picture. And we forget that that the path is built one brick at a time. The home is built one brick at a time. And if you can always remember that, again, it's all about taking one step forward, and as long as you're enjoying the journey, like, to me, what I've learned, like, I know for me, I've learned before, I used to think it was all about the goals, but I've learned that it really isn't about the goals. It's not about the goals. The goals, you reach your goals and it's like, you're happy for like, a couple hours a day. Like, those of you, that's like, how many of you have achieved something great, right? You're like really proud of something. Maybe you graduated or you got something. How long were you really like ecstatic about it? In all honesty, it was probably lasted a day, a couple days, a week, and then you're like, all right, next, what's next? Like, let's keep moving. And that is the fact. That's how it is. But yet we're so focused on the goals, not realizing that it really is about the journey, and it really is about who you are becoming in that process of reaching those goals. And that is where the magic is. That's why it's like, if you can find things that you enjoy, then that's what really matters. You know, if you're having fun, that's why I talk to you guys about having fun and having balance. And, I truly enjoy, talking to you guys and seeing you guys grow. And I enjoy being on social media, and I enjoy taking care of my body, and I enjoy learning. I enjoy continuing to learn. I enjoy, I have all these books, I have endless books to read. And I'm just like, this is great. Like, it's, and I get to choose what is it that I want to learn about. Like right now, I'm learning more about like hormone stuff and like women's hormones and, the brain, and how do we combat Alzheimer's, and how do we work on reducing that in our country, which is all related to like, sugar and our stress levels. And like, so I'm constantly learning. And learning about meditation. I'm now going to be learning about yoga. So I enjoy, it's all about growth, right? That's all growth. That's really what it is expanding. And so if you're not growing, just choose a topic that you're actually genuinely interested in. And a lot of times it's like, what is it you need to work on within yourself? And then from there, that's where you start growing, you start learning, you see where life takes you. And that's how you create, a really valuable life path for yourself. So just, really harping on the fact about it's about consistency. It's about, just saying, all right, I'm going to be super consistent this next year to my goals and to myself. And then lastly, inspire, share your journey. That's what we're doing as social media micro influencers, as people who are building a business on a social platform. We have to share our journey. And that in itself requires believing in yourself, right? Believing that you have something to offer, something to share what you're learning, and know that, the world needs you. We need you. If you, for whatever reason, if you ever feel like we don't need you, message me and be like, I don't think the world needs me. I'm gonna be like, let's talk about this. Like, the world needs you, and you can ask or post it in the group, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of love from people around you. And again, don't, be mindful of those types of words. Be mindful if you dip into those types of phrases and thinking that about yourself. It just, again, it's about like snapping yourself out of that, talking to someone else, sharing what you're thinking, so that we can help you. We can help you, think more positively, because we absolutely need you. We, more than ever, we need more people out there being examples of health and being examples of, a growth mindset, and being examples of working on themselves, and, and having compassion for ourselves so that we can have compassion for others, lessening the judgment that we have on ourselves so we can have less judgment for others. We need more and more of this in our world. And so we absolutely need you. And we need you to be that example in your family, right? A lot of us, we're born into a family, and those of us who feel like we're different, again, a lot of times it's because I don't want to say we're like super strong, because we're all super strong, but I feel like we're like, we have a certain, like, we really have a certain strength that allows us to be different amongst people, that, that we can really help change. We can help show them a different way. We can help them, expand, and help them heal, and help them grow as well. And that takes a certain fortitude in the individual to be able to handle that. But yeah, so share all that you're doing, and then, and then lastly, you can create your abundant life. So that is the last thing that I wanted to share. Let's see, there was a comment here. I'm becoming more and more of the black sheep, Ashley said. Yeah, it's true. Like, again, it's all about having courage to be different, right? Those of us that are on this journey of personal growth and expansion, again, by default, it just depends on your family, it depends on your social surrounding, it depends on your surrounding. If you are in a family household that is afraid of change, which a lot of people are afraid of change, it's going to be challenging. You're trying to be different. You're trying to think different. You're trying to live different.
I'm part of the group.
And the more that you understand about yourself, it's going to help you understand about others. So that is what I have, but I'm proud of every single one of you for showing up. And those of you, I know all of you have been working on yourselves in some capacity. And so I'm proud of every single one of you for all of the work, all of the consistency that you've put in your own way in this year. And I encourage, 2020 was definitely is definitely a year that we will never forget. It is one that we will talk about with our grandkids, and we're gonna be like, that year was the start of something really interesting. But one thing that I find great comfort in is just looking in these just the natural cycles of nature. And after every winter comes spring, and after every tough time, there's always just such a positive and uplifting time. So I think even there, I think I've said this before on a call, it's like even when we had the Spanish flu, like right after the Spanish flu back in the early 1900s, right after we had the Roaring 20s, which was all a huge growth period for our society. So that gives me a lot of excitement, a lot of hope about what's coming. And just know, guys, like, again, it's all about just continuing to better yourself, continuing. And again, if there's one thing that I say, it's your outer state is a reflection of your inner state. So at the very least, keep working on that. If you're not completely happy and ecstatic and content, not even ecstatic, I don't even like, because that even is fluctuant. If you're not content, because I feel like contentment is a much more stable, much better, like, if you're not content with what's on the outside, it's okay. It means we need to keep working on what's on the inside, because that is just simply a reflection. And you're in a strong community that wants to support you in doing that. And as long as, like I said, as long as you're honest with yourself, and you stay humble enough to keep working on yourself, and you stay in it, because it takes a amount of humility and humbleness to say, you know what, I don't know everything, and I'm willing to change, and I'm willing to humble my ego, I'm willing to humble my pride, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to grow, I'm willing to be different. Yes, this book is amazing, guys. Someone said, I love that Joe Dispenza book. This book is really, really, really good. Breaking the habit of being yourself. But yeah, but let's take a picture. Let's do a boomerang. And also, guys, if any of you feel called and want to step up in 2020, I've already spoken to some of you, but we're looking for people who want to step up and do team calls, and they're great opportunities to teach. And you can teach what you're learning. You can teach, if you got like a book and you're like, oh, I want to teach this mindset, or, even just the basics of coaching. Again, we're looking for people to step up. Oh, and I encourage everyone to have a word for 2020, a personal word, or 2021, a personal word for yourself. And then the word that I have specifically, my hope for the team, is leadership. That's the word that I have for our team in 2021, is everyone stepping into their own personal leadership of leading themselves, and then they lead others, and then you lead a community. So I feel like, there's a lot of themes, is my hope for 2021 around leadership. And all of you stepping up as your own inner leader, so that you can be leaders, not just here within Beachbody, but leaders within your communities and leaders within your households, because that's what we need. We need better leaders, right now. So with that being said, look at everyone's faces, smile. It's a boomerang, so yay. Everyone's like, woo. So awesome. And nice to see Victoria and Emily and Leanne on the call. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I hope that you guys are all having a good end of your year. So thank you, guys. Alrighty. Enjoy. Bye.